I'm Bambi Francisco with this segment of Lessons for Entrepreneurs, and I'm speaking with James Siminoff. He founded SimulScribe, and he's also the CEO, and this is actually, Jamie, your third venture.
Yes.
So thank you for sharing your lessons with the Vader audience. Let's talk about when raising too much money can be a detriment. You raised $4 million and probably wasn't the best strategy.
Well, I mean, it worked out for us in terms of as a company, we're alive, we have money, and that's great. But in terms of if we wanted to go the institutional route, which for SimulScribe probably would have been a good thing. Mm-hmm. You know, the VCs obviously do add value to companies, and we see it all the time. I mean, there's lots of examples of it. But what happened was, we started the company with $200,000. You know, just two partners putting in money.
$200,000.
$200,000,
right? Okay.
that was perfect. Mm-hmm. We then went out to raise a small angel round. At the same time, the New York Times hit with their article, and that sort of blew us up at when we were doing the angel round. So we actually got too much money in. And instead of turning money back, we said, okay, you know, we take money when you can get money. Mm-hmm. But we took too much money in, so we sort of ended up leapfrogging the VC process. Because we had so much money, we were able to build a big enough company where, like I said, we're over $2 million in revenue today, that we sort of leapfrogged the startup VCs. Mm-hmm. And we're not far enough along for the people that invest in sort of the ongoing concerns VCs. So there's sort of two shops there. There's people that invest in like an already profitable 5 million plus revenue company, and they sort of do that type of investing. Right. And there's the seed capital guys that do that. But
in
the middle is a tough place to be because it's.
But you raised $4 million. You have about 13 people, so your burn rate shouldn't be so bad, and you have $2 million in revenue. So do you really need that sort of the A round institutions?
We don't need it, but I think it wouldn't have been a bad thing for us to get it. So I mean, looking back, I probably would have rather. I think we would have gained a lot from having the right VCs in. Mm-hmm. You know, it's sort of it's not a fatal mistake, but it's definitely looking back. I'd say it would have been great to do 200,000 and then maybe 500,000 just to sort of like keep the speed going along, but then get the right VCs, put the right group together, and then have gotten another 3 million in an A round, and then sort of let that keep going.
Right. Well, you've been an entrepreneur 3 times over, right? Onto your third venture, which is SimulScribe. Share 3 lessons besides just raising too much money. But what are other pieces of advice that you would share with the Vader community?
3 lessons. Let's see. I mean, it's. I'd say one is, in terms of being an entrepreneur, is you have to be very careful, like mentally. There's so many sort of highs and lows during the day that you have to be very careful to sort of keep everything in the middle. Right. Don't get too excited with the highs and don't get too down on the lows because it just sort of keeps, it's a needle that keeps swinging back and forth.
It's a roller coaster.
Yeah, and the more entrepreneurs I talk to, whether they've been funded, whatever they've done, have had those sort of experiences where, one day you're at the top of the world about to sign something, the next day you get sued, but the next day you're back up again. So you have to just sort of...
You can feel like you're at the top of the world when you get sued.
And then you can feel at the top of the world, you get sued, and then it can go back down again. So I think that's really one of the most important ones. Trying to, accepting failures quickly and moving on from them is definitely another one. I mean, you're going to make a lot of mistakes. I mean, we've probably made... I don't know how many mistakes we've made even today. I mean, but you try to make your mistakes as being small. You try to correct them quickly so that a mistake doesn't become something that ends up, shutting your company down. We see a lot of companies, especially startups, that do get shut down. And I think that's the thing you have to avoid is allowing a mistake to sort of kill you. Because once you're killed, you're dead. I mean, that's the sort of the final for the entrepreneur.
What happens.
And I think that goes into the third one, which is you only fail if you stop. And the only way you stop is 2 things. You either give up or you do something that sort of makes you lose. And I think if you can just keep things going, if you're smart and you're dedicated and you're hardworking and you like the space, you'll make something happen. And you see it so many times, like time and time again, a huge company. And when you talk to the founders, they say, oh yeah, well, we came out great. Then we had 2 years of like hell. We lost all our employees, our management left, but we kept it going. We kept working on the product, and then it blew back out again. And there's just a lot of stories of that. So I think success is not just this sort of constant upswing. It's sort of, like I said, these highs and lows, but making sure that the lows don't actually knock you out, because being successful just means that you're still in the game.
Right.
So if you can stay in the game, you're always going to be successful.
It's time to regroup during those lows. You mentioned failures. Are any failures that you want to touch on? I mean, a lot of the entrepreneurs do. They share sort of a failure in their life that really made them a better entrepreneur.
I've had definitely. I'm trying to think of which one would be the best one. I mean,
Right.
I've definitely.
So many.
I mean, I failed so many times, but I guess I haven't had a failure that's sort of taken me down. I mean, at the time I thought maybe it took me down, but I kept in the game. So,
Right.
for example, I originally started my first business was a voice over IP company where I built voice over IP networks all around the world. I had a partner in that stole some money and actually sort of, in essence, sort of quote unquote bankrupted the company. And a lot of people would have. I mean, I was $250,000 in debt that I owed to people all around the world, and really probably should have just shut the business down. But instead, I just sort of, managed a little bit of money here and tried to push that guy off a little bit and tried to get a little here and sort of pushed it around and was able to sort of just keep it running enough to then merge it into another company, which then we built into a large company and then I sold out of. So, I haven't had. I'm trying to think. I mean, probably the biggest failure I ever had in business was when I first started, which was my first thing, was selling these thing called paramotors, which were these flying machines that had a fan and a backpack with an engine and a parachute. And this was in high school, so I was the New Jersey representative for this company, and it was the coolest thing ever. I mean, it was really exciting. They were about $13,000 a piece, and I was gonna make I think I made $6,000 off of each one they sold. So I put together all these wealthy people to come to this field and to see this demonstration. We brought the paramotor demonstration guy in.
Right.
I had 20 people there, including a National Geographic reporter who wanted to use it when he goes to take pictures from.
Oh yeah.
I was definitely going to sell a couple. And put this whole thing together. It was like probably 3 months worth of work and did all this stuff. The guy's flying around, everyone's loving it. They're like, this is the most amazing thing. You're right, it's safe, it's all this stuff. The guy goes into land, crashes, breaks his leg, engine falls on him, face bloody, and so I didn't sell any paramotors. So that was the one that I got out of that business. So so I learned my lesson on that one. But that was probably the biggest failure I've had. So
lesson:
far.
Don't sell any flying machines and stick with voice over IP.
But really, in my last company, I mean, we kept failing. I mean, we probably burned $10 million worth of failure.
Yeah. Well, that's why you have a successful company now, and you easily raised $4 million in your angel round. So I'm sure it won't be difficult. It won't be difficult to raise your next round. So thanks for sharing your stories.
Great, thank you.
And I've been speaking with James Siminoff. He's the founder and CEO of SimulScribe.